Welcome, everybody. Today we have a very special guest.
I knew early on that I wanted to make movies.
Such a difficult industry because there's a lot of luck involved.
I mean, look at American Werewolf in London, look at The Thing, look at The Fly. Look at these films that have really withstood the test of time.
I sculpted this Captain Kirk mask, and they didn't sell particularly well, but then John Carpenter came in, said, can you paint one white and spray paint his hair black?
I was maybe 9 or 10 years old, and it scared the living shit out of me.
You're just racking up these people that you grew up watching. They're in your films. Is that surreal?
There were 35 directors there. If there had been a bomb dropped on that restaurant, never another good horror movie.
Bene's Bloody Bits.
And don't worry, that's a new promo, but there will be a future promo with Malcolm. He has not been forgotten, so don't fret. I'm Jason Bene. He's Malcolm Harvey, and it's a Monday, and we are going to talk about The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs, which is a Shudder original series. And we have some opinions on it, and some people might not like them, but that's what the internet's for, is to, talk shop and have different opinions. How was your weekend, Malcolm?
My weekend was good. Got some sad news. Found out that Sid Vicious had died.
Okay,
I'm not a
big wrestling fan. He was a wrestler, right?
Yeah, he was a wrestler. He was only 64.
Isn't that for wrestlers? That's kind of living long, right? Aren't they like rock stars? They usually die fairly young.
Some of them do. Normally it's from steroids and the abuse on the body. But yeah, I found out he died today, just before we started, actually. So that was kind of sad. But other than that, it was a decent weekend. Mostly been chilling, hanging out with Donna, and just getting stuff done. Really trying to get through some movies, trying to just do usual stuff.
Before we jump into The Last Drive-In, I just want to give a little kind of like a bio of who is Joe Bob Briggs. So I'm just kind of taking this off the internet. John Irving Bloom, known by the stage name Joe Bob Briggs, is an American syndicated film critic, writer, actor, comic performer, and horror host. He is known for hosting Joe Bob's Drive-In Theater on the Movie Channel from 1986 to 1996, the TNT television series Monster Vision from 1996 to 2000, and The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs on Shudder beginning in 2018. In 2019, he was named the Rondo Hatton Classic Horror Awards Monster Kid of the Year, and in 2023 was inducted into the Rondo Hatton Awards Monster Kid Hall of Fame. Funny thing about Joe Bob is I hadn't heard of him until there was some deleted scenes in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, and everybody kept referencing this, Joe Bob Briggs was in the movie, but the scenes got cut. I was very in tune with what was going on with horror, but I don't think I had the Movie Channel at the late 80s, so I didn't really know much about him. While I did dabble in Late Night with Rhonda Shear and Elvira, I wasn't the biggest host fan. Obviously, those ladies got the benefit of the doubt because they're hot. I do recall TNT's Monster Vision, but not really jumping on that bandwagon. Before we get to the Shudder series, do you remember who he was when you were growing up?
No, because being in England, growing up, for the most part, I had no idea who the hell he was. And the only time I had heard of him was when he popped up on Shudder. And I was like, who's this for? Just because he looked a bit weird, like dressed up in a cowboy outfit and everything. So, and then I think after finding him on Shudder, then basically I looked him up and found out, look, he's been around for like 30 years. I was like, wow, the craziness of things you can miss out on being in a different country. So yeah, it's kind of weird because it feels so dated in a way, even now I look at it, to what it would be. Because I feel like it would have been one of those things that was on, on like you said on television back then. But when it's on Shudder, it feels a little bit more, I don't know, it just feels weirder because it feels like something that's stuck from the past.
I mean, I guess I understand where some people do like it. I guess I come from the old school of I used to read a lot of magazines and books. So my issue with Joe Bob in general, and we will get to why I feel it and we feel it's insulting and it's overrated, but I always like people that would give me reference to things, but I didn't necessarily need people to tell me what I liked and didn't like. And I think that's kind of where things have gotten, the hairs have gotten crossed. I like people like Tony Timpone, who wrote for Fangoria, Michael Gingold, who came from Fangoria. Eventually, now he's with Rue Morgue. The great Chaz Bowen, who I think is the best genre writer there ever was. He passed away in 2009. People can go back and buy his books, The Gore Score, which was his way of like talking about a movie's quality, but how it was good, violence and stuff. He wrote for Fangoria. He wrote for Gore Zone. I actually knew him. He was my mentor. He was my friend. So he is missed. And I feel like nobody talks about him.
How old was he?
Talk about Joe Bob so much. And it's like, I don't get it. Like, I've never been a fan of the whole Mystery Science Theater 3000 of let's make fun of a film. I don't care if I'm watching Psycho or Hard Rock Zombies. I feel like it's a disservice to movies and cinema to make fun of them. I don't care if they're made by Ed Wood. I just think there's a level of respect. And my biggest beef with the whole platform of The Last Drive-In is a lot of people are watching these films for the first time.
Yeah.
And so they're watching them sometimes from their TV, sometimes from their laptop or their cell phone, but they're not giving the movie the benefit of the doubt, meaning if it's a 90-minute film, they're not sitting down on their couch and just watching it from beginning to end and make an opinion based upon that. They're too busy with their phones on Twitter, because this is where the hub of Last Drive-In is. It's on Twitter, and they're pausing the movie wherever they're watching it. Got to make sure I tag Joe Bob, tag Darcy, hashtag Mutant Family or Mutant Fam, FAM. And so when I say Shudder series is insulting and overrated, it's absolutely insulting, not to the fan, but to the films themselves. I mean, I guess if you've seen the film, it's not the end of the world, but I know a lot of the younger generation are watching these films for the first time. And I can't think of a worse way to view something.
Yeah.
Broken up with, one thing, interruptions by these people. I don't need someone to tell me the booby count I can count or the kill count. And I just don't like the snark. That's the snark and the movies not being the main focus. It's almost like people need to be told what to watch and what to like.
Well, it's bad enough when I've got the neighbour outside making a lot of noise, and then a trailer trash looking guy in a cowboy outfit who doesn't even look like a cowboy trying to tell me what he doesn't and does like about the film. My view is this: if I want to watch a decent quality of the film, I don't watch the Shudder because it's not even in HD. Most of the versions they have on there are really bad VHS or DVD quality versions. So they're taking that away from the film. And then just as you get into the film, you're getting cut off to listen to a guy who should be in a retirement home talking to you, telling you God knows what, right? God knows what about something. But you want to skip through. Now, these youngsters, they put this on because Joe Bob's hip. And, if you want to talk to somebody who knows stuff, go to an old people's home and talk to some people in there that are lonely. Don't watch this stuff because it's just ridiculous. Watch a film for the first time, all the way through, no distractions, no one talking to you. And if you have to watch this, then watch it after you've watched the film first so that you can get your own views. Because the problem is, I could be sitting there, I could be young, impressionable, and a bit, easy on the brain parts. And I could be like, oh, I'm loving this movie. Joe Bob comes on. Oh, you know what? He's right. He's saying this about this film. And now I don't like it as much. And you're like, but then you've been what's the word? Can't remember. But, where his opinion basically takes over yours. I'm tired, so I can't remember the word.
Okay.
Right? And I'm just like, at least watch the movie first. At least watch it first. At least say, yeah, you're looking at one with some big tits, right? But, it's plastic surgery. So don't bother with that. Go watch something real. Anyway, right? All I'm saying is watch the film first. Don't watch this. And if you do watch this because you love this, watch the movie first, have your own view of it, and then see what Joe Bob thinks. And then maybe think about it a little bit if that's what you want to do. Never, ever watch a film and listen to anyone else tell you what to think of it doing, because it's always going to change your opinion a little bit, whether it's anger, happiness, whatever. And you can guarantee these youngsters who are watching this, half the time a new one, they're pausing it and unzipping and taking care of some business halfway through. You can't keep track of the film that way.
Let me play devil's advocate. What happens if they say, mind your own business? This is how I want to watch movies.
Oh, then I say to if you want to watch it, I got something you can look at in the toilet in 10 minutes.
Okay, so we're both in agreement that we're not big fans of this. What do you think there's been a positive as far as there's been this community, as far as fans getting together and going to the, they go to drive-ins, which are pretty much extinct except for a few here and there that I know during COVID, during the pandemic, a lot of them made comebacks because there needed to be separations and things like that.
Yep.
So do you feel like there's been the community kind of coming together? Has it been a good thing or a bad thing?
The only coming together I want to get to as a community, a drive-in, is in the backseat of the car with my missus. Right? I don't need Joe Bob to help me get in the mood like some people I'm sure do. But no, in seriousness though, yeah, it probably did. It helped the community. If you looked at the horror community nowadays, they kind of need to be pointed sometimes in a direction, right? They can't, and this is not to everybody, so don't get all upset, guys, and go, oh, he's judging us all. It's not everybody.
Yeah, just so people know, our
99.1%.
opinions are not about everybody, but predominantly, I've seen this on the internet. So I'm sorry, continue.
These people, they need to be kind of pushed in a direction. Oh, I don't need to watch this film unless Joe Bob has brought it up. I don't need to do this, Oh, Joe Bob's brought up this movie that was out like 40 years ago. Oh, I didn't know even existed, but now I'm an expert on the movie because I listened to this guy who took the weekend out of an old people's home to tell me about stuff. I'm telling you, people, it's good to have a community, but be more free thinking, Now, I saw it helped during the pandemic, and this is perfect for the pandemic. If you ain't got any films and you ain't got anything, sure, and you want to feel like a pandemic with the whole Twitter thing, that makes sense. But at the same time, we can have a community without having to go through this whole process without actually talking about it. That's why there's groups for talking about movies in depth. That's why there's this other stuff, And I feel like sometimes we judge things, as people, by what other people are telling us. And the problem with that is there's no free will, no free thinking there. Because if I go and I say to Bene, oh, you know what? I watched Longlegs, right? And I said, oh, I was upset because there weren't any long legs in it. And, I was upset because Nicolas Cage is in it dancing around. And he goes in it and he watches and goes, oh, look, there's no long legs in it. You got to have that free conversation where you don't let things get you and make you bias or have some sort of view of something before you get into it. Because the most important thing about watching a movie, right, other than peace and science not being bothered by other people, is the fact that you go in it blind, so you don't know what to expect at any moment.
I think it's become part of the culture. I don't know if it's the internet age, but here's a perfect example, not to stray away from Last Drive-In, but there are people that buy physical media, and let's say like 15 movies come in, they take a picture of it, and they go and they post, what do I watch first? I'm like, if I have to tell you what to watch first, then you bought those movies for the wrong reason. You're trying to be part of the cool club. And because to me, when I order movies or I watch movies online or streaming, I know exactly what I want to watch. I don't need people telling me what's good or bad. And it same goes with movies that come out in theaters. Like, let's say I saw Alien Romulus, which I haven't seen it yet, but let's just say I went out and I said, I typed up on social media, this movie stinks. And a couple of my friends might go, oh, I knew it stinks. It stunk. And you were right. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm not trying to influence you. You need to go see it for yourself. I think there is this mentality of, I need to listen to what other people's opinions are as opposed to making my own. Look, I haven't seen Longlegs because I felt like it was overhyped and I wanted to see it on my own terms. So I'm just going to wait a couple months and then catch it I noticed that the buzz for anything is about 1 week. After 1 week, it goes away. And then the next thing will be Beetlejuice, and people will love it or hate it. And Last Drive-In is kind of the same way. It's there's nothing wrong with somebody helping introduce you to films. I know a lot of the boutique labels, after they put out stuff on physical media, they have a license with Shudder. So you'll see a lot of Severin and Scream Factory and Vinegar Syndrome films. But I just feel like watching it I don't know, for me, unless I go to the theaters, I kind of like to watch movies on my own. I don't want any comments from like friends, like they might not like what I like. I don't need running audio commentary. I rarely listen to audio commentaries because I feel like, oh my God, for 90 minutes, I really don't know how much information I really want from a film. I kind of want to, digest it in my own terms.
Well,
I understand the Joe Bob outfit is a shtick, and it's kind of this redneck kind of, motif, and that's always been his thing. And of course, he's got Darcy. He's got the lovely sidekick who ironically probably knows just as much about horror than he does. And I don't have a problem with her past. She was very upfront that she used to be an adult film star. I don't care how you paid your rent.
That's probably how she found out about horror movies. It was probably fed to her pretty
Okay. Hey, fellas, Joe Bob is definitely overrated. I don't get the hype. I don't hate it, but I don't care about it at all. Also, Shudder sucks in my opinion.
It does suck.
Wait, thought you were interviewing Jim Bob. No, it's Joe Bob. Is this going to be a rant for an hour instead? Bait and switch? Nowhere in the thumbnail did it ever say I was interviewing Joe Bob. It says The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs. Overrated Shudder series is insulting. Do you really think Joe Bob would come on my show if I was going to insult him in the show? Darcidius, go look back at the description. It basically said me and Malcolm were going to skewer it. Sorry, it gets me a little heated because I never said I was interviewing him. Anyways, back to the topic at hand. I'm just messing with you, Dark. Don't take it personally. I have no interest in interviewing him, to be honest. I feel like there's better people out there that just as knowledgeable.
I think if you did interview him, he'd probably fall asleep halfway through.
He is definitely up there in age, and he's been doing this for a long time.
Look at that chin. Look at the chin on him. I mean,
well, look, I'm not gonna make a big discussion about their looks, other than, did you ever see John Carpenter's Escape from LA? Where Bruce Campbell plays the Surgeon General of Beverly Hills.
Yeah. And
him and all the people that work at his facility are overdone with the plastic surgery. And ironically, in 1996, when that film came out, that was very much exaggerated, but it actually has become the norm. And I'll just kind of leave it at that. And it's, in general, I think people have overdone it. Anytime my wife turns on one of her reality shows, like Real Housewives of blank,
she likes them, does she?
It does. No, she just happens to like those shows, but I can't help but go, look, just own to your age with grace. I understand it's a different time now. There is this extra pressure to look a certain way and to not have wrinkles, and which is bullshit because, look, I mean, I don't think that should be a thing, but unfortunately in Hollywood today, that has become kind of forced down their throats, so to speak.
That's what Darcy said.
I knew I shouldn't have said that. I opened myself up for that. But I had Shudder for about, 8 or 9 months, several years ago. I kind of focused on Eli Roth's History of Horror, some of the documentaries, like
the good stuff.
There was a series about real life, like movies and stuff that tragedies.
Films, right?
There was like cursed films with Twilight Zone, the movie with the helicopter accident with Vic Morrow, with Exorcist.
Wasn't there Black Horror Noir as well? Wasn't that one?
I believe so. I watched those. I always felt like, was there something wrong with me? Am I too old to not understand what's going on? But I do realize it's not just younger. It's not just a younger crowd. It's people from all ages that really dig The Last Drive-In. I just don't know what kind of community it really is, because I looked at an account on Twitter, which is kind of the unofficial like mutant family for Joe Bob, and it's got about 37,000 followers.
Whoa.
But the funny thing is, the guy only follows back about 3,000 of them. So if this is about community and supporting each other and having each other's backs, I'm not expecting you to have to follow back 37,000, but I think that ratio is really awkward.
Have you seen the amount of shit these type of numpties put on their Twitter? There's a reason why he doesn't follow them. I'm telling you, I've followed a few people on Twitter. I had to turn it off years ago.
You think that there people are obnoxious and they just don't want to follow them and read their timeline and see the crap that they post?
Imagine you constantly being tagged. Oh, Joe Bob, look, I got some new underwear today. Oh, Joe Bob, look, I'm putting my grandpa in the elderly people's home. Look, there's a nice room if you want one next to him. You know, who wants to hear that?
So, do you have Shudder? Did you ever have Shudder?
Did I have Shudder?
Shudder? You can Shudder or Shudder, either way.
Shudder! Yeah, I did. I did for a couple of months when I was in America. And I thought it was a waste of money. I thought there was barely anything on there. Don't get me wrong, they've got a lot more originals on there now than they did when I originally joined. But, you know, when I'm looking at things like Elevator Game, which is boring and terrible, nobody buy it, right? Or other certain things, like, I didn't mind Super so much, but, you know, there's not much on there. If you just, and most of the stuff that's on there, if you know horror, you've seen it. So there was no point for me being on there because I own most of it on disc.
And that's not to say that we're know-it-alls, but I feel like there's some independent thought that's missing in fandom today. Even if Malcolm and I recommend stuff, we're not saying it's great. It's just our opinion that we like something. I don't think you should really be listening to Joe Bob, Darcy, me, anybody. I think it's good to get different opinions.
So I'm going to be honest here, guys. Conclusion. Don't listen to Bene. Always listen to me. All right? You listen to me, you don't go wrong.
If you listen to Malcolm, all you will buy is Japanese torture films. Japanese torture films is all you're going to get from Malcolm. That's it. Nothing else. That are only on DVD that have never been put on Blu-ray.
Yep, that's the next list. All them now, just because you mentioned that.
So if you ever go to a horror convention and you saw there was a booth with Joe Bob and Darcy, would you go up to them? What would that scenario look like for you?
I walk up to the table, unzip my pants, and take a piss.
I came to this channel for high-profile interviews, and it's time to deliver. Can you get Felissa Rose for next week? Well, Darcidius, I've already done a video. I actually did with Aaron Penn, of all people, where we ranked all the Sleepaway Camp films. And if you go back and watch it, you'll realize the original Sleepaway Camp is not my favorite. It's actually my third favorite. The best are part 2 and 3. I like Felissa Rose, but I feel like she got lucky.
Overrated.
I mean, it was basically, I've never thought Sleepaway Camp was great. I feel like it's saved from this humdinger of an ending, emphasis on ding. It's an average slasher film that happens to, deal with transgenderism, and it kind of caught people off guard in 1983.
Look, I'll be honest.
Go ahead.
I'll be honest. When it comes to Felissa Rose, the fact that she's famous, really, for just the one role, and there's a lot of people that are, and she's been in all these other roles, which are not very great, and at every convention she's going, oh, like this. It doesn't say much, I mean, do I think she's great in Sleepaway Camp? Yeah, I do. But let's be honest, she didn't have to do much in it other than look around and the end. you know. But yeah, I mean, you know, I know people love her, and she seems like a really nice woman.
I'm not saying, look, I know Darth is probably being a little bit sardonic, but I interview people
High
on here.
profile interviews. Oh, the great Pym was on your high profile interview, and he's high profile.
No, in this show, I don't want to just interview celebrities. I mean, I want to mix it up. I want to interview other YouTubers. I mean, Malcolm is a regular on here. Has probably been on 25, 30 videos. I've lost count. I like to balance it. I've told Malcolm I don't want to overdo it with interviewing people. You need to realize that it's not a very easy to get people on. Some people ignore you. Some people read your comment and never get back, which is fine. That's their way of saying no. A lot of people say yes. I've interviewed at least 6 or 7 actors or directors. I just had one up on Saturday. I'm going to interview more people, but I kind of want to balance it. I want to be a fanboy, but I also want to be a journalist. I think that's kind of like the anchor of the channel is a little bit of both. Yeah. I like the balance. I could kind of be myself, and if I'm just talking with Malcolm, where if you're interviewing somebody, in the industry, there's a level of professionalism. You can't really, steer away from that too much. I'm thinking maybe one interview a month with somebody that's famous, famous in my book. I'm not looking for A-listers and stuff, but I like stuff like this. And Last Drive-In is, I think people are afraid to speak up on its quality. And if you like it, that's great. I'm not saying don't watch it. But for me, it's insulting to watch a movie and pause it just to go online to hashtag it, retweet it, and all that. I feel like Twitter is easily the most toxic platform on social media. It's not even close. Whether you're talking about movies or politics or religion, or it's just a hot mess. If you look at what's trending on Twitter, it's usually negative stuff. It's never positive. It's always, the darkest part of the web kind of things. And I don't have anything personal against Joe Bob or Darcy. I'm not somebody who's done the convention scene in like 7 years. I think it all kind of came together at the same time for me. I saw the rudeness in the guests that I never used to see. I'm somebody who in Southern California from 1999 to 2017 went to every Fangoria weekend of horrors, Monster Palooza, whatever, convention. And I saw the prices, tickets to get in, jacked up, where you could go to their table and you used to be able to get like a real quick selfie before we even coined it selfie. That used to didn't cost you anything. Now it's like, I want to charge you for an autograph, charge you for a photo op, charge you for this. So by the time the ticket to get in, the parking, just to meet 1 or 2 guests, especially if it's somebody big like Melissa Barrera or Nev Campbell, who's starting to do Campbell conventions, you might be talking $300 or $400, and to each their own what you want to do with your money. But I think of The Last Drive-In and its obnoxiousness and the way the horror convention scene's gone to shit. I think there's a connection between the two that I just find to be a turnoff. And it's going to take a lot to get me to ever go to a convention again. I might not ever go.
I'm going to a convention in September.
Which one?
There's one near us at the local shopping centre, and it's going to have some guests there. And one of them is the Winnie the Pooh actor, the evil one. And he's going to have the mask on and outfits, and we'll get Donna to take a picture with him.
Is it the same guy from 1 and 2? Is it the same person?
Yeah, I think it's the same person. Either way, it's one of them. And he's going to have, I'm guessing, number 2's mask on. And I said to Donna, let's get a picture of her with him. It's only going to be like 20 quid. So I'd rather get a picture of her with him than me, because it'd be funny.
Okay, your dollar is the quid. What does that equate to, like US dollars?
Probably about $25, $26.
25, 26. Okay, so not too bad. Have you been to a
it's a
convention?
nobody, really. So, it's not like he should be getting anything anyway. But, it'd be fun just to see her face all like, ooh.
Yeah, and I know this is a very popular show. I know even Charles Band has jumped on the bandwagon, and he went to a Last Drive-In show in Las Vegas with his movie with Kendra and Barbie, and they kind of shot the movie on the set of the Last Drive-In, and I thought that's fine. They're kind of trying to pick up off, some of their followers and stuff. And I don't know. I know I'm going to sound bitter. I'm going to sound old. I'm going to sound jaded, especially somebody
But nothing new there then.
No, I just feel like I have a different perspective. I see things through a different lens than I used to when I was younger.
Well, of course you do. You had the surgery on your eyes, so of course you do.
I had LASIK. No, but I feel like it's changed. And here's how I know. I could look at it. I could watch people's YouTube videos that go to a Last Drive-In somewhere, a horror convention, which I do actually. I live vicariously through other people. And I'm like, oh my God, that person was so rude to you, but yet you still gave them $80 for some autograph or something. I just feel like, think for yourself. At the end of the day, the movies are what counts the most. And for me, it's kind of like a religious experience where I kind of sit down, I have my drink, my cell phone gets put off to the side. I don't want no interruptions. And, like this weekend, I cranked out probably 4 or 5 films, but I did them with, not being interrupted. And I guess some people, maybe they feel like they need the community. They feel like they want to be part of something, and that's fine. I'm just always been more of a rebel, more independent, more like a loner in the sense that I don't really need people around me telling me what to watch and what to like. And so I feel like the Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs is insulting to the films, because the films are what matters the most. They deserve your undivided attention for that time. If you want to be all like, oh, I'm going to be a stand-up comedian, go on internet and make fun of people like, okay, it's a movie from the 70s or 80s, so their hair looks funny or their clothes look different. Well, guess what? In 20, 30 years from now, those people are going to be making fun of what we're wearing and how we look now. They're going to look at all these people with the neck beards and looking like Abraham fucking Lincoln and shit and thinking, you guys look like fools. So guess what? Don't poke fun at old stuff, because guess what? What comes around goes around, and people will be making fun of what is in style now, later on.
Well, all I'm going to say is you're very lucky that you can have those religious experiences cranking out to the movies. Me personally, I'm lucky if I can watch a movie without being disturbed by something. Sometimes I have to watch the movie in like 2-3 halves, bits, parts, because Donna might call me, the doorbell might go, there might be a fire down the road and we all have to evacuate, whatever, But, I think personally, but, the best way to watch a movie, if you're going to watch it with somebody, you should both watch it and relax with it and, just enjoy it. But if you're going to watch it for reasons, like I've been watching a lot of movies I got recently, and they look beautiful, right? But I wouldn't be able to enjoy them as much if it wasn't for the quality of the TV and stuff, and the remasters, and the fact that Donna's in bed.
So the final verdict: I'm not a fan of Joe Bob Briggs. I'm not a fan of Darcy the Mail Girl. It's nothing personal. I just feel like I don't need the help. I never watched the show when I had Shudder. I got rid of Shudder because I thought it was a waste of time, and I'm not anti-streaming, but I know this show is saving Shudder from going under. If they ever do lose Last Drive-In, Shudder will be, extinct. It's just not going to be around anymore.
All right, well,
what are your final thoughts on Last Drive-In before
I'll see Joe Bob in elderly people's retirement home, and Darcy, you can come and clean my kitchen anytime. But other than that, I won't be watching The Last Drive-In anytime soon.
Well, a quick sidebar. Severin had a pop-up film festival in Los Angeles over the weekend. They announced a ton of films. I'm not going to spend all day on them. I'm going to read them. They're going to do
yes.
There's a 4K of Rats Nights of Terror, a film called Poppers from '84, the Dracula Saga from 1973, The Mask of Satan, which Malcolm and I did on a previous show. It's a Lamberto Bava film. It's kind of like a pseudo remake of his father's
Yeah.
Black Sunday, Hell the Living Dead 4K, Thesis from 1996, The Virgin of Nuremberg, All the Haunts Be Ours Volume 2, which is kind of huge, Glass Ceiling, Delicatessen, and probably the biggest thing is it looks like Severin was able to crack the code and get into the Russ Myers filmography through his estate. They are going to be putting out Super Vixens, which is kind of a big deal. If you're a fan of Russ Myers, it's safe to say that this is probably the beginning of a few releases. I'm not sure if a box set's going to happen, but the one that I was actually, the one that caught my eye the most was this movie called The Ark of the Sun God, which
was not what he released.
That I don't. It's like David Warbeck from The Beyond, kind of like a Raiders of the Lost Ark and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom kind of riff. And I will totally blind buy this just because it's David Warbeck, and also The Mask of Satan, which I've been looking forward to for a while. That one has never had a disc release. Is there anything that stuck out for you, Malcolm, that you're like excited about?
Not really. I mean, Demons 5 and the Lambert Barber one. Ark of the Sun God, I thought would have been released, and it has been over here. I've got the 4K from 88 Films. So it's probably the same master.
You are completely frozen, Malcolm. I can hear you, but I can't see you, but it's okay. Keep talking.
So basically, 88 Films released over here. There we go. Can you see me now? Yeah,
No.
88 Films released it over here because I bought it like a year and a half ago. Because there we go. Oh, I hate when it does that. Let me see if I can see.
I see it. Yeah.
So I would have been excited for that, but I already own it. So yeah, probably Demons 5, probably the Lambert Barber one. And I'm not that interested in rats. Probably Super Vixens, probably. And that's and all the haunts already pre-ordered, so because I was jumping.
Since we're on the subject, do you think Darcy's double D's are real? Dude, I could spot those from a mile away. Those are fake as fake. No, sir.
Let me tell you this. At our age, if you can stick it through them and they stay up without you jiggling them, they're not real.
But anyways, that's just a quick, kind of like breakdown of what Severin has coming probably in the next 6 months or so. Malcolm and I are going to be back Sunday, September 1st for the Vinegar Syndrome drop. I'm going to get up early. We're going to go live when they go live. Let's try that.
Oh, nice.
What's the weekend so I can do it? It's much easier to do it than the weekdays. So I know there's some stuff.
What are your thoughts quickly? On the RAD thing? The RAD, the sale where you got to spend 500, 750, they reckon, to get.
Do people think they're bringing RAD back out of print? Is that what they think it is?
They do.
Based off the 80s kind of like banner and stuff?
Yeah.
I grew up with RAD and I still have never seen it. When Vinegar Syndrome put it out, I was like, not a big deal. I don't need to own it. Like, I guess if it was $10 or something, I think.
Well, I know a lot of people think that the out-of-print rare stuff is going to be stuff from like 10 years ago, but it's going to be recent stuff that's gone out of print, surely.
Well, they've already made it quite clear that they're opening a new warehouse and they're kind of overwhelmed with backstock. So they're just trying to make space by blowing out some of the old stuff. It's just another sale. I think Vinegar Syndrome fans are funny. Ever since they came up with that rewards program, people are chasing rewards, but you don't realize to save money, you got to spend money.
Yeah,
so I saved $10, but you spent $300. So
the whole VSMC thing where you have to spend you shouldn't say you have, you can if you want to spend $500 or $750 to get exclusive things on the rewards thing. It's a bit weird because for someone like me, I've got everything I want. So there's no way I could spend that anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we know what we like. Going back to, we don't need to be told what's good or what's bad. Last Drive-In, I mean, for the fans that do like it, I hope you continue. It's just not my thing. I don't get it. Movies should always be the focus. It's insulting to the movies. At the end of the day, the movies come first. Everybody's trying to be popular, and ooh, Darcy and Joe Bob followed me. Look, these people are not your friends. At the end, they want to make money. Why do you think they do conventions? To make money. Why do you think they want you to watch their show? To keep their job, so they stay on the air. So don't think these people actually are your BFFs. If that makes you feel better, whatever floats your boat, do it. Last Drive-In, I think sucks. I don't think it's very good. I think for independent thought, it's horrible, and I think we need to get backward. Doing things on our own without people nudging us into the direction of what they think is good or not. Joe Bob doesn't like Cemetery Man. Okay, that's his choice. I think it's great.
So now we know why you don't like him.
Well, no, and occasionally he's gotten political. And look, I'm not one of these people that says, if you're an athlete, stick to sports. If you're an actor, stick to acting. But when you're on a show that's about a certain topic, this is not a time or place. I don't care if you're on the left or on the right. Just kind of keep it on the subject at hand.
I think it's important to talk about politics. If you're doing horror movies like President's Day,
George Romero's films. Or Jordan Peele films that have an angle toward being a little bit, conscious of what's going on in the world. That's a little different.
Uncle Sam or something like that. Is that what that film's called, Uncle Sam? That one Blue Underground release?
The William Lustig 4th of July slasher film,
bring it up then. Don't bring it up when you're watching something like Nightmare Sisters, because all we want to see is the tits.
Well, I think that we've closed the door on the Last Drive-In. You guys could keep going to the drive-in. I'm not making any visits soon. I probably haven't been to ones and saw movies since like 86 when I saw Police Academy 3. So, do what you're going to do, but it's not for me.
Anyways, over we didn't have drive-ins, so
I guess it's more of an American thing, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we might have had some in like the countrysides, but not the same degree.
Well, we will talk to you on Sunday, September 1st, Vinegar Syndrome Cell. Thank you for watching. Like, share, comment, do all that fun stuff. That's very important. Of course, thanks for watching. And Malcolm, I will talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.
Talk to you then. Take care, guys.